Well, the time has finally come to pull the engine out of my 2001 RXDI. The only thing I did was pull the head off just to have a look because it was locked up. And then we realized back at the back behind the compressor, or where the counterbalance is, there's a bolt that is sticking out of the back of the case. So the only course of action now is to pull the engine and replace the case. I do have new case, gaskets, new compressor, sleeves, which we'll touch on that once we start doing the rebuild. But right now, focus is to get the engine out, and then we can have a look at it and see what's going on. So I say first thing we're going to do is pull out the direct injection rail, then we'll pull the exhaust, and then we'll start removal of the engine. So let's get going. A lot of small parts, easily droppable. Really got to be careful. Labeling, what the heck? Very important. And not dropping stuff into the village or in the engine. Okay. Maybe that'll stay right there. Feel that. Fuel smells like varnish. Fuel rail. Doesn't look too cruddy in there at all. Oh, look at that fuel injector though. We'll have to check all those to see if they even work or not. That's going to be my next experiment too, is to try and find a cheaper fuel injector for this machine. We're going to do that testing this summer. Alright, put that aside. Labeling is also another big thing. I like to label everything I can. It just makes it so much easier when it comes time to put this thing back together. You think you got it all in memory, but then a couple months go by, or while you're waiting for parts or something, and then you forget. So that comes off here. This one comes off here. Tuck that to the side. Gotta cut this zip tie off and remove this rubber boot. Expose the bolts. Okay. Take that out of the way. Right off. Don't drop that. That nut is impossible to find. I don't know what the story is with it. They are hard to find. Drop that down there. 1, 2, 3, and then a nut on the bottom. Well, that's wonderful. When I was filming, I forgot to bring the Rode wireless mic over with me. I took my coat off and it was on my coat, so I don't know how that came out. So if you're watching this video, then the other video was no good footage. Anyway, so what did I do? I labeled the exhaust pipes that I took off, the rave valve. We disconnected the fuel rail. I didn't label this, and I zip tied the two pieces out of the back because they can only go together in one spot, so it's really not an issue. What else did I do? That's about it. Oh, and I took the clamp off. I just took the bolt off the clamp, so now that's off. And our next thing is to get the bolts off the head here. And that is tricky. I have different size hex drivers. There we go. came out easy. Oh, we got another pipe over here. Cut that off and label it. There is a lot of pipes and wires on this. The manual shows you where everything goes anyway, but that can take you forever versus just labeling. Exhaust. Cut the zip tie off. And gone. Clip him up there. There's a rogue one that goes to nothing. Was not hooked up to anything. And I always get confused. So I'm going to put a... This is for the battery, the old, like when you use lead acid batteries for the vent. Not used. And that'll confuse you. Okay, moving on. We're definitely going to be draining the fuel out of this thing. And this one is the terrible one. It needed to have a little bit of a notch in the exhaust. The other thing you got to be careful of is when you're taking these off, sometimes if that bit's too long and it gets jammed tight to here, then you can't reverse it and get the ratchet off. So you got to be careful about that. Kind of take it easy and see how close it is. So I don't want to deal with that. So many things that can get you stuck. 113 mil bolt here on a rubber bushing. And you can tell the surgeons have been at this because they got three washers on there, and that's not normal. It's 17, and it's totally loose. Yeah. This may not have very many hours on the rebuild that was done. I'm starting to wonder if they just put it together wrong. Okay, I can't get that rubber out of there. So now we got to get the nut out that's way underneath. Specialty tool, you can get them on eBay, Watercraft Superstore, stud bolt, or stud nut remover, I think they call it. Not sure. Let me get you down and in there. It's a big maybe. I don't know if you can see it or not. We'll know when I review the video, but I cannot even see the nut from up here. Can't get the wrench in between the stud and the bolt. Why won't that fit in there? Huh, not even tight. Super loose. Yeah, that's her. You don't need to take it all the way out either. Wow, that was a bit of a challenge. Okay, it's going to be stuck pretty good, I'm sure. Not bad. Oh. Ooh. It's going to be a water pipe on the bottom of this that we're going to have to unscrew as well. So I might as well get the screwdriver for that. And I am using a 1/4 inch driver bit. Show you, I don't know if I can. I'll show you where it is. Right down there. So I just got to undo that. There's no way I can hold the camera and do that. So I'll take that off, move on to the next step. There she goes. Come on. Okay. And that's that. So turn you over there. One bolt here. And then there is a hose clamp down there. We'll undo. And then this whole thing will come out. And I'm going to take the clamp out. Put that aside. Put the nut back on so you don't lose it. Okay, that's out. Just take that bushing out because we're going to lose it if we don't. And there should be another bushing up here. Take this all out too. One thing that does suck is working on a trailer. The machine is too high. It's much nicer if it's on a lift, but I have to take this in to pressure wash it all out. So I'm going to leave it on the trailer. Okay, let's undo. That's a 5/16 clamp. Yeah, 5/16 nut driver right down here. Undo the clamp. This is the one that I always forget to tighten, so I always have a water leak every time. I don't know why. And just like that, she's gone. Now, this guy, trying to get that off of that T, you end up breaking those. You can try a heat gun. Kind of put that tape a little bit close. Heat gun. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Just a couple more. Again, air compressor. Want to cut it as close to it as you can. Remove that the same way. There's a vent on the bottom of that we'll get to as we lift this up. There is a pipe on the throttle body up here. This guy. Pull him off and label that. And the next thing coming off is the air box. That just flips up. Usually there's an Allen key or a cotter pin on there to hold that. And then it hooks on the bottom of the throttle body, so it has to be slid to the side. And this is very difficult to get out, and I may not be able to pull it out. Seems like sometimes I can get it, sometimes I can't. Anyway, that's unhooked. So now we can loosen up the bolts or the clamp for the throttle body. One on either side. And that one is metric. There. And another one over here. And that just wiggles off. And then, oh, what's going on here? Oh yeah. connector for the throttle position sensor. Pop that off. There's another, the air sensor right there. Another one over here. And there should be one more right here. And then all that's left is the throttle cable, which we got to get disconnected. Now we got some room. No. Oh boy, come on. Come off of there. Yes. Should we label that? I know it's the throttle body, but why not? Marker. And another one here. Look at this. This is so fragile too. I've broken a few of those over the years. That little piece of plastic fell in there. Don't want that. Okay, where did he go? Right here. Label that. Jeez. Okay. And we got some cables. Well, somehow the camera got into photograph mode and I didn't get to film removing of the throttle body. So I'll have to go back and see where it ended, but basically I just pulled that out, disconnected the cable down here at the oil pump and disconnected the throttle cable. Chuck put that down here in the bilge somewhere. So sorry about that. If that's an issue, let me know and I'll see if I can get some more video of it. And moving on, we have a couple of ground wires to get off. 10 mil, no socket wrench, ratchet. Here we go. There's one. All right, I'm gonna take that nut off and the starter wire off. And then I'll bring you back. Now I think we'll take out the bolts for the engine mounts. Oh yeah. Not that stuff. So small too. 3 little bolts hold this mount on. It's that one. I'll bring you around here in a second to show you. Right there. Do we need a light? Nah. gone down in the bilge. And another one there. Okay, let me grab those bolts. Rig up a little safety just in case. Still a couple more pipes underneath, vents off the compressor, and I think there's one more water pipe. Yeah, oh, yeah, there's a disconnect right down here. This connects to the water box on the bottom of the engine. So you just squeeze those two fittings and disconnect that. Now we're good to do a lift. And we got some stuff hooked up over here. Oh yeah, water pipe on the compressor. Almost there. So we got the water pipe here. And there should be a vent on the bottom. So let's get this water pipe off. So compressor top, a lot of pipes go into the compressor. Compressor top. Come out of there. Gone. Then we have this vent pipe that goes over to the throttle body. Loosen him off, but the engine will come out with that still hooked up, and I'm just taking it off to get it out of my way. Maybe. Maybe I'm not. Oh, it's stuck on there. All right, and then we got one more over here. Compressor side. See if I can get that off of there. Yes. I want to label that. See if I can hold this and right. Comp side. Oh my. Oh well, she's labeled. Now up a bit more, and then we'll get that vent at the bottom of the compressor. Where did it go? It's not even hooked up. And let me move the Seadoo. I'll crank this up, we'll move the Seadoo, and we'll look at the damage. Oh. One more vent on the... What the heck is that? counterbalance shaft vent, but this has got some kind of weird, it's got a gear clamp on it instead of a typical Oetiker clamp. I'm assuming that that's the right one that goes there, but I'm going to check that just to be sure. That went right there. Too many surgeons. All right, so that pipe that says not used, that's on that side of the machine, is not the case. That vent on the bottom of the compressor where the oil, that the two-stroke oil goes in through the top and comes out the bottom, goes from there back into the oil container. Let's see if we can see. Should be a small pipe right up there, goes back into the oil. So as it turns out, when I pull on the pipe back here, if you look at the not used, that's the one. So that goes over here into the bottom of the compressor. So I'm going to relabel that right now. Okay, she's out. Let's have a look. Yeah, so that's where I disconnected the oil cable, and it was not connected on here. It loops in there, hooks on, and it's spring loaded, so that I'm hoping that there's no engine damage inside, outside of the case. Now I'll show you what happened here. Look at that, that's that bolt I could see. And we'll take this cover off and you look inside there, and that bolt goes into the counterbalance. Cracked this whole thing, cracked a hole right through there. So that is no good. So let's take this cover off and we'll have a look inside. There's one. Screwdriver, maybe. I won't be able to get that off without removing the PTO. No. Yeah, so this all has to come off first, so I guess it's going to be a bench diagnosis. We can't see much more, but we know that that case is totally blown, top and bottom. They're usually matching, so I'm not going to mess with that. Cool. Well, now we know where we're headed. Let's get her on the bench and tear it down. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull off the exhaust manifold so we can get a new one on order. We're not waiting. I did just break these loose, so they weren't actually that loose. And mark the clips, PTO and mag. Rubber hammer. And just like that, she's out of there. Ooh, free leaf. So that's it, totally pooched, and I did have the part and was wondering where that came from. So that's nice to know, so that there isn't some other hidden problem somewhere. Okay, now we'll pull the PTO. Let's see if this will break these loose. No way, man. Well, the old messages are going. And another one there. one more. A little tap. Boom. That's that. I like to keep everything together, again, for ease of assembly. I'm not trying to sort through all the different nuts and bolts. Put that over there. Big one. Puller time. Gone. Now we can take that cover off and have a look inside. So let's do that. And the big reveal. What carnage do we see? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It looks like that's sheared right off, so that could be a problem now. I might have to get a counterbalance as well. That is a bummer. Look at how that mangled that. What makes me curious is why the engine won't turn over. What other damage is done? Is there carnage in there? Yes. Let me get it. Magnet. That's carnage. Oh, that's the sleeve. So the sleeve was all broken up. And there's water in there. Huh. Let's take the top off the compressor. Everything up here looks good. Actually, one more thing I want to try is to pull the cylinders off, see if there's something obvious in there. Here we go. A little side to side. No up and down. No side to side. So hopefully the crank is okay. So I guess it's just a full disassembly now, which I think we'll probably do in another video. What's going on in here? Oh, that's just the vent on there. Yeah, I think on the next video we'll do the full tear down and then we'll clean all the parts up, see what we need. I think I have everything that I need now. The only thing that might be suspect is the counterbalance, so we will have to tear that down to that point. That's the full-on disassembly, and I think that's going to make the video way too long. Okay, next video we'll tear it all down, assess the crank, see if I need to order a new one, and then we'll go forward from there. So until the next one, have a happy new year, and we will see you again soon.